audition because they need to go and have that next job ready to go before, when that other job finishes up. It's a constant thing. An actor's life is not all fun and games. You got to be a salesman too. You got to sell yourself as an actor. Because if you don't, you really end up not making any money at all in the field. So it's not always an easy job. Some actors, they'll switch from things. They'll either do voice acting or do stage acting, or if they work on a radio show. One actor may actually go and do video games, which I hear people who do video game voices get paid very nicely, very well, nice money for what little time they work on it for a video game. That's what I've heard. But I've seen a lot of voice actors cross over the genres,
right.
From video game to actual professional anime, vice versa.
Could just be that the video game industry is a bigger industry right now than the anime
yes,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
It's humongous. And there's a lot of games that come out, and actually, if you're going to do that, you're going to need voice actors, and you want to get the best quality pool. Now, I have a friend who plays a lot of video games, and in some of the video games he doesn't hate because he wants to hear the Japanese version, and they don't give you that option sometimes.
I feel like they've been getting better though. Like for example, the Atlas series that does Persona and like Devil Summoner and stuff have really, really good American voice actors. Because I used to be the same way, but I feel like over time, American voice acting has gotten better.
Oh yes, no, I'm not saying that. To me, it's either nor, neither nor. I'll take whatever fits my pocketbook at the time. If I can find a $1 VHS tape with subtitle, I'll pick it up. You know, I've got stuff that's subtitled, got it dubbed. Yes, there was a time where dubs were done on a shoestring because they had to be. When Streamline was in business, they did some that were, you know, not all that great, but you had to understand they didn't have very much of a budget. So I sort of can forgive them because here they are, they're getting it out and trying to get it to a mass market. Now Streamline did bring over Akira, and Streamline did bring over Vampire Hunter D, and they also helped with what some people consider the offended dub for My Neighbor Totoro. Before Disney did it.
That was a great dub.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's my heart. It was they have two English dubs for My Neighbor Totoro. They have one with Dakota Fanning screeching the whole time, and then they have the one that I don't know what the
Nathan did.
yeah.
Streamline did. I also like Streamline's version of 3 times 3 Eyes. I thought that was a very good one, but Geon later on got the rights to it, and I liked that. When Geon went and got Akira, they couldn't get the original rights to the dub off of it, so they had to redub that as well. What's really fun is I hadn't heard the 2 different versions. 5 centimeters per second, I think is what it's called. One was done by AD Films, the other one was done by Bang Zoom Entertainment. I have not yet to hear both versions, see which one was better.
Have you seen or heard about the ghost? Is it called Ghost Stories?
Yeah. There's you can tell the story.
No, you can.
Oh,
I can't explain it as well.
There was a show called Ghost Stories, and I don't know why, but the people who got a hold of it thought that the dub company that got a hold of it thought that it was just, they're like, this is such a terrible show, it's never going to sell, so they just made a joke dub of it, and they sold it as a real dub, and they were just making it. You've heard of it? Oh, yeah, sorry.
I've heard of it.
It's hilarious.
There's a show called Shinesman.
I've never heard of that.
It was one done by Media Blasters, OVA type of deal, and Shinesman is hilarious. It's spoofed on the Power Rangers type of deal.
Oh yeah.
And Shinesman is very fun. I would recommend it. Just watching the dub also, but it's hilarious and funny.
Shinesman,
Yeah.
One thing that when you're watching dubs is, you guys might have already talked about this when I was in the bathroom, but like, watching anime and she'll explain to me that something, there's a certain quirk in the way they're talking, like they use masculine and feminine words that, I don't know how, like, you can't really translate that when you're doing a dub as well sometimes. Kind of like
localization.
in Roz and Nathan, you have the one character that always says death.
Yeah.
Desi, Desi, Desi.
Well, one of the problems you have with Japanese, translation is, let's say they have a word pun, in it. Like in Rumble One Half, the panda picks up the, bread, and the Japanese word bread is pan and da, and it doesn't translate. So what they did is, person goes over in the English dub and says, well, you the big breadwinner, the bear part of X is here, plus it's a bad pun. In the irresponsible Captain Tyler, this guy was reading off the thing, he was trying to translate it, and he goes like, this doesn't make sense. And it has to deal like, running words together and it makes a joke. So he said, pull out sharp ideas, come up, pull that just out of the blue air. So sometimes word puns and, some little word sayings kind of can shoot over your head quite a bit, and you have to go and try to change it. Tiffany Grant told this nice little story. In Sister Princess, the character Terry Yamada is talking about a police show in Japan. Problem, we don't know what that police show is about in the United States. So what she did, she got Greg Ayers to do a poor version of Columbo, which we would know, and put that in there, insert that so it can make sense. You've got to allow for those type of things where it's referencing something that you don't know what they're talking about. You've got to make up something. Granted, it's not the right way, but what are you going to do?
I remember there was a manga, I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember what it was called. It's like Celis or something. It was from the creator of Sailor Moon, I think. But it was a manga, and it was the same type of shoujo type series. But so it was about high school girls. But see, the high school girls in this manga would always make references to Japanese pop culture at the time, like popular Japanese singers and things like that. But in this manga, the English adaptation, they actually admitted in the beginning that, as soon as you open the manga, they're like, we had to change the names around so that this wouldn't confuse English readers. So what they did was they changed the name of Ayumi Hamazaki, I think, to Jennifer Lopez. So the main character of the.
Well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Now, but the manga though, they could have done this, and I've seen it done in several mangas before. They could have went and said, okay, go to the back page. We will explain who these people are. That you could get around. Now, Anamigo, when they did USS Yazura, they would give you a little booklet and say, well, here's some stuff that, because if you watch it, you're not going to catch it, and you get a little booklet, explaining these nuances in Japanese culture that you wouldn't know about. Now, some things in traditional Japanese, like you ever notice when they're laughing, you'll always notice they'll have their hand in front of their face. And the reason why is because that is the proper way to laugh over in Japan. They don't go ha 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 out because they put their hand up because they don't want you to see their nose hairs. And that is the proper way to laugh over in Japan. And also too, when you're opening a door in certain houses, you have to open it up in stages. That's another tradition over in Japan, where you enter a room. And I mean, you can come up with, these nice little anecdotes that, about their culture and everything.
All kinds of festivals and holidays and anime and stuff like that.
Well, yes, there are different festivals.
The school stuff is completely different.
Well, believe it or not, they do celebrate Christmas.
Okay, but that's more of a couple's holiday.
Yeah.
And they do have the tradition of, okay, when a teacher enters the room, the class does stand up and bow to the teacher. That is a natural tradition over in Japan. It doesn't matter what the age is. They are a very disciplined society. They're a sad society because there's this time period where you got to take these tests, and it will determine what school you can go to.
Entrance exams.
Yeah, and if you don't make the proper grade, you don't get into that school. And believe it or not, in some, businesses over in Japan, if you didn't go to that school, they won't hire you. Or if you went to that school, they may, cause this is what I've heard happen. This guy, he came up, he was qualified for this job, and they start going down the checklist, and they said, well, we're sorry, we can't pick you. Right, you went to this school, and we have a policy to, and it's been back from a long time ago, we do not hire anybody from that, school. So he didn't get the job. I'm going like, say what? Unbelievable.
Right.
He's qualified, he has all the necessary, credentials, and you're going to turn him down because he went to the rival school? Rough society, Japan. I'm glad I live in the United States.
If you have the wrong people on your resume, they won't hire you as well.
Yeah.
Because I have friends who have been denied jobs because one of our teachers, he's a bit opinionated, a bit loud. And, so when he is put as a reference on your resume, there are some people who will flat out deny you because that person is on there.
Wow.
Just like this, I have a friend who worked with a Japanese company, and the first thing they did, they brought him in, and they did a big introduction. They said, okay, we have this, and when it came down to the final question, okay, we have all this going for us. Why are you right and we're wrong? I mean, shouldn't you just went up and said, okay, tell us what you got, and then we can see how to improve our product. But no, they go through the entire line of what they have. They lay out all their cards and everything, and then expect you to answer that question. And the guy had said, well, you didn't allow for this or that, and that would make the product that much cheaper, and it would cut your overhead. And so they're very interesting lot to deal with. Sometimes they're very difficult because I've heard of companies that go over there and there's something that they did a long time ago and you want to get the license for it. Well, hey, we got this brand new stuff over here. Well, we want to get the original stuff. And they're going like, why? You know, wouldn't you be better off buying our new stuff? You know, we want to buy the old one, and they turn you down for buying the old one. I have heard this, and this is just rumor. This is not fact. No, this is rumor. I've heard many times that Toya Studios, who put out Sailor Moon, I've heard that Funimation had gone up to them, said we would like to buy the rights for Sailor Moon, and they said whatever the amount is, we'll be glad to pay for it. And Toya says no, and I'm going like, they want to bring it back over here to the United States, and you're bringing it down. What's really hilariously funny to me, Fruits Basket. Funimation went up to the actual production company, said, we want you to produce another season of Fruits Basket. We're willing to give you a blank check to do it. This is a rumor now, not, like I said, this is what I've heard. And they looked at them and said, why? Doesn't make sense to go and do another season of Fruits Basket. You're going to like say, what? They're really offer you money here. And it doesn't, I can't fathom it. If someone came up to me and said, gave me a blank check and said, okay, just fill it out, I'd jump on it and say, okay, I'm going to put a lot of nines in it. Yes, I'd gladly, if you're willing to pay for it. And it wasn't too part of the deal, too, because the way I heard it, Funimation said, okay, you produce it, we'll distribute it over here in the United States, because Funimation has made a lot of money on Fruits Basket. What I can't understand, and it would make sense to me, since you have all these marvelous, wonderful voice actors from Fruits Basket, get them, find the company that's supposed to do the novels of it, and do an audio book of Fruits Basket. You get these people up here and let them, and you just have to do a reading from the actual manga.
Or translate the audio dramas.
Yeah, make it into an audio drama.